Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video I will be telling you my top 5 January transfers that I would like to happen to Arsenal. So without further ado, let's start. Number 5, Julian Draxler. Now Draxler's been a guy that we've been linked with every transfer window in the past, say, two years maybe. I think Arsene Wenger is an admirer of him and likes the style that he plays, but has never really officially put any kind of bid in for him. Now, he plays for PSG and he's kind of surplus to requirements over there with the talent that they've got. The likes of Cavani, Mbappe, Neymar, not to mention a few others. So maybe he would be looking for first team football, and at Arsenal I'm pretty sure he would get that. Also, he already knows a few of our players, for the likes of Ozil and Mustafi, and he's good mates with Kolasinac, so I think he wouldn't have a problem settling in. But the whole thing about this whole transfer is if the Arsene Wenger would be like active enough in the window to kind of put a bid in for him, or show interest in him properly. So it remains to be seen if any sort of concrete evidence would suggest that we're trying to sign him, or if we're even going to bother to even attempt to. But for me, I think that he would be a great addition to our squad. Still quite young, he's talented, hasn't really got enough chances to show what he's really prove what he's really made of at PSG, I don't think. But I know that at Arsenal he would be given a chance if we were to put the interest in to sign him in the first place. So yeah, number 5 is Julian Draxler. Number 4, Fabinho. Now, this position, central defensive midfielder, is a position that we've been crying out for a player in for a very, very long time. We never replaced the likes of Patrick Vieira or Gilberto Silva, and yes, we have brought midfielders during the time, but not one that's job is to simply just sit in front of the centre backs, cut up play, intercept pass to someone that's more creative than him. So Fabinho, I'm not going to say that I know a lot about him. I've just seen a few videos from when Monaco won the league title in France, and I know that he's pretty tall, he's pretty mobile, so he can move around the pitch quite well, even though he is quite a tall player. I know that Monaco do rate him very highly, as I think that anybody that tries to put a bid in for him will have to pay at least 60, 65, maybe even 70 million for him. So that is a sign that Monaco do want to really keep him. But I feel like if we were to go in there, put a hard hitting offer for him, maybe we would get him. Maybe money talks. Monaco have sold quite a few of their players in the last transfer window. And I think that we need to be a bit ruthless in the transfer market. I know that we've had no links to this Fabinho at all, so the chances of this happening is pretty much zero. But in terms of players who I would like to see join Arsenal, I think Fabinho would be one of the ones that up there. I know that we've been linked with Nzonzi. I think that Fabinho is probably more talented than Nzonzi. Not to say that Nzonzi's rubbish. I would probably be happy with Nzonzi, to be honest, but I think Fabinho would do the job a little bit better, a little bit more mobile, a little bit more able to get around the pitch. And so yeah, I think that if we were to sign Fabinho, he'd be a good piece to the core of our team. Number 3, Jack Butland. Now, Jack Butland is a young English keeper that I think needs a challenge. I think that at Stoke they concede too many goals because of how defensively shoddy they are. that it looks bad on Butland as because of like always getting thumped here and there, like conceding loads of goals and stuff, but I don't think that he's actually a bad goalie. Now, I know that I just basically said that Stoke's defence is shoddy and ours isn't that much better, but sometimes we can, on a good day, keep clean sheets. And I think that at this moment in time we are in need of a new goalie. I think that Petr Cech has passed it. I think that, yes, he's had a great career, but most of his good stuff in his career was with Chelsea. Of course, he spent loads of time there. He came to Arsenal. We thought it was going to be great. He was good for a season. And now I just think that, as much as I hate to say it, because he's a great player, he's a great leader of people, and, you know, it's kind of hard for people to let their careers kind of finish. But I think that Cech is unfortunately done, and Jack Butland, nice young English keeper, would be the perfect replacement for me, I believe. I know that Jack Butland's not the tallest, not the person that can field the goal pretty big, but he's got a great leap on him, technically able to jump around and save ridiculous shots. He's made quite a few good saves this season, let alone previous seasons. So I think that he would be a great replacement for Petr Cech, and not just the short term, but in the long term as well. So he can be there for a good 3, 4, 5 years. Number 2, Thomas Lemar. Now, Thomas Lemar is a very good player, but he hasn't really shown it this season. As much as I know, I don't really watch regular French league football, but as far as I know from, you know, people talking, so it's all like second-hand information, but compared to last season when he had his mate Mbappe around him and people like Bernardo Silva and all of the players that they lost, looks like that it's hit him quite hard, and he might have been a bit unsettled because of that deadline day bid that we put in for him when we thought that we were going to try and grab him on deadline day. I'm not sure if it was him that turned it down, or I'm not sure if it was because there was not much time left. He had a game on that night at the same time. But there's been talks about us and Lemar ever since. I think the fan base would be happy with Lemar as a signing. But if this was a signing, I don't think it would happen until at least the summer. Because I don't think that Monaco, or Arsenal for that matter, would do such a big transfer in January. I believe that Arsene Wenger is not even a big fan of the January transfer window, to be honest. I don't think that he likes it. Hardly ever signs anyone in it. But in this January transfer window, I think we do need to sign someone. And I would like it to be Lemar, but I don't think it's going to happen. So, in the January transfer window, Lemar would be one of my targets, as I said, number 2. But I don't see it happening. So, number 1, Riyad Mahrez. Now, Riyad Mahrez is a bit of a funny player, I believe. The season when Leicester won the league, exceptional. His partnership with Jamie Vardy was unbelievable. Linking up, scoring goals. You know, his ability's there to see. Everybody can see it. There's no denying his ability. But sometimes he goes quiet. But every player has a bad spell sometimes. And I think that Mahrez, with him being already based in the Premier League, already knowing what it's like, already ripping it apart on occasions, I think he'd be the perfect fit. Now, I think that his valuation is around 55 to 60 million. And again, that's quite a big fee, and I don't see that happening in the January transfer window. Leicester will be losing one of their best players. We'll be forking out 60 million. I just don't see it happening. Arsene Wenger hardly fork out 60 million in the summer, let alone in January. So, with that one, as nice it would be to see, I don't think that it will happen. I'd love it to happen. I'd love for all of these players to get signed up, to be honest, but I don't think that it's going to happen, unfortunately to say. but I don't know, maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe they'll surprise all of us. Anyway, so that was the 5 players that I would like to bring in January. But I just want to mention a few other things. I think it is absolutely vital that we get Jack Wilshere and Mesut Ozil both tied down to new long-term contracts. Now, it looks inevitable that we're going to be losing Alexis Sanchez, which is quite sad. It's dragged on for too long. I don't think that it's right for the fans or the mentality of the dressing room to know that there's certain individuals that don't want to be there no more, causing disruption, causing upset in the dressing room. I think fans just want it done. They want it concluded so that there's no more of this media talk all the time. So that's one part of it. So I think Sanchez will inevitably leave. But in terms of Mesut Ozil and Jack Wilshere, I believe that Jack Wilshere, we need him to sign a new contract. He is Arsenal through and through. He was captain the other night, led the team out with great pride. You could see how happy he was to be leading it out. He did pick up a slight knock, but we're told that it's not too serious and he should be fine. He's come into the team when Ramsey's been injured. He's done a great job. There's been a few games in there when Ozil hasn't played with him and he's been the only one that is the creative spark in the team. He always drives forward, he always looks for the attacking option, something that Arsenal players are criticised for doing, is not attacking and looking forward first instinct that they get. Jack Wilshere is one of them players. He's come in, done a brilliant job while Ramsey has been injured, as I've said, and I think that it's vital that we sign him down to another contract. I think he's out of contract at the end of June, which would be very, very hard for us fans if he was to not sign again. I think he wants to sign. I just think the contract negotiations are stalling. I don't know whether it's because of money. I don't know whether it's because of the fear of his injuries, even though he hasn't been properly injured for a good 4 or 5 months now. I believe that he is in the best condition that he has been for a very long time. His form's right up there, and I just hope that he signs. I really do. And as for Mesut Ozil, I don't think we can afford to lose him. We just can't. We've seen games where we haven't had him in the team. And of course Wilshere will always try his best to create. But if he's getting played in a deeper role next to Xhaka, it's hard for him to go all the way forward and then create. I mean, I wouldn't have any doubt that he would be able to do it from the number 10, as you would say. That is Jack Wilshere's number. But if we lose Ozil, it's just another one of our best players going, isn't it? I know we're all used to it by now. I know that it's the same old story, but I think it's important that he signs as well. I don't know where his mind's at. I don't know if he wants to. I don't know if he doesn't. I know that he might have just bought a new house in London, but that just might be a holiday house if he moves abroad or if he moves somewhere else. I hope he doesn't. I hope he stays. I really like watching him play. He's just world class. There's no two ways about it. So yeah. So this has been my top 5 January transfers to Arsenal that I would like to see, and a little bit extra on 2 players that are running out of contract. Last thing I'd like to say is we have sold Francis Coquelin to Valencia. £12 million, I believe the fee is. I'd just like to say, even though there's no way that you'd see it, I'd just like to say thank you to Francis Coquelin for everything that he's done for us. Always showed maximum passion and always tried his best when he was at Arsenal. He was up to Arsenal for 10 years with, a few loan spells in there. But since he got brought back from that Charlton loan spell, he filled the gaps that we needed him to fill, did the job we asked of him. And I'd just like to say thank you to being a servant for this club, and good luck in your future, Francis Coquelin. So that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share it, and I will see you in the next one.